Because I remember printing it. Me and my buddy Sergio were looking at it coming off the machine. Like, wow, that's a cool R as a gun. This is going to be a pretty cool show. Like, nobody in the world.
The logo is iconic.
Yeah, nobody in the world outside of the people creating this had seen it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mission Control. This is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands, and we've got a special, I would say a special B-Boy episode of Mission Control. Please help me welcome my dear friend from back in the day, Mr. Gary Wallace, founder of Hall of GraFX.
Hello, everybody.
Come on in.
Yeah, my name is Gary Wallace, and I own and operate, and I am the founder of Hall of GraFX, digital printing services in Providence, Rhode Island.
Think big.
Think big. That's the logo.
That's the tagline.
That's the tag, yeah.
And speaking of logos, that's a fancy logo you have around your neck, man.
Well, thank you. This is actually our mascot.
Yes.
Because the acronym of Hall of GraFX, being HOG, is HOG. And so this is our hog. If you see it closely, it's a hog.
And what's he got? A spray can?
This is like a marker,
okay,
like a pilot marker from like a tag of B-boys tagging back in the day. And this here is a can of spray paint. And if you could look closely, there's a number 5 bezeled into this can of spray paint, which represents TC5, which is one of the elder graffiti writing crews in the Bronx, New York. So this is our hog logo, mascot actually, of Hamilton. His name is Hamilton. Hamilton Hog.
Hamilton the Hog.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to unpack there because, I mean, you did well with the branding and you've been consistent with it.
Yeah.
I know we've worked together. We did the website. We did, I think, the original like Hall of GraFX.
Yeah, the
logo.
temple. I call that the temple.
The temple with the papers. It's like the full color.
That's the temple. The CMYK flow.
The CMYK. So we got to talk about. And listen, we're gonna, when you tell your story, we can go back. We decided we were going to leave some stories out to protect the innocent.
Yeah, we got to protect ourselves.
Protect the innocent. But you and I go back to our childhood, growing up in Providence.
Teenagers, 14, 15, 16 years old.
And we would never imagine we'd be here right now in this situation.
No, if you ask my dad, he would commonly say to my wife that he thought he would be talking to me behind bars at some point. Right? But I proved him wrong.
We made it, Dad.
Rest in peace, Dad. But I did prove him wrong. He didn't have a good look for me in the outcome.
Yeah, but we like Mob Deep, we've been through it all. We've seen it all.
Done it
quiet
all.
Storm. A quiet storm.
Oh, yeah.
But, as a B-boy, what was your take on the Olympics, the breakdancing? Because the woman from Australia is catching some heat for this.
Well, honestly,
she got 0 points, by the way.
Okay, I'll be honest
0.
with you. You can unfold a lot from that.
Yeah.
Meaning, if I was her, I'd be like, God give everybody the finger and say, I won. Because technically, she's the hottest thing on earth right now. And sometimes it's not what they call you.
Right.
It's as long as they spell your name right.
Right. They're talking about you. We're talking about
her.
We're
talking about her right now. So she won. She doesn't have a clue who I am. But I know. I already know that she won. She's from Australia.
Right.
I don't know who won gold.
No, I have no idea. Nobody knows who came in second place.
I just know it was Japan because they've adopted hip hop culture for years.
Yeah, I knew they were going to be on top of it. But as far as the girl goes, what's funny is I've been to Australia and I didn't even know they had a b-boy scene. I was like, what? Somehow they're in the Olympics, b-boy, b-girling.
Right.
And to be a b-girl is a lot harder than it is to be a b-boy. And to be honest, they're not even using the term right, okay? So b-boy, they're calling it for breaking boys. A b-boy wasn't just for break. A b-boy was the all-around, the style, the look, the flow, the feeling. It wasn't just, I can break, so I'm a b-boy. That's not really what b-boy meant. A b-boy was more like I'm part of the culture, and I'm taking on the responsibilities to wear the right gear, to lace my sneakers up the right way. I may or may not be part of the 4 elements of hip hop, but I'm still down. So you didn't have to do, you didn't have to be a DJ, a rapper, a graffiti writer, or a breaker to be considered a b-boy. You were just part of the culture. You had the look,
the swag,
flow, the swag. You hung with the crews. You were part of the crew. So you was a b-boy. They took that out of context, and now because you're a breaker, you're a B something. There's no b-boy scene in Australia. So they're not b-boys there. They just break, or you know what I'm saying? But as far as the girl goes, I didn't watch it. I saw it on YouTube because I was working that time. But I honestly, even when I first heard that breaking was going to be in the Olympics, I was against it. I was like,
I think it's gone for LA, 2028.
It's gone.
Yeah.
But I didn't even like it as being like, they're raping our culture so much. Now it's in the Olympics. I was really against that. So when I gave it the few seconds I gave him looking at it on YouTube, I was like, okay, skip. So I didn't really see her performance until I saw the ridicule of her performance. And I've seen numerous reels and memes, and I've seen people, and it's, to be honest, it's not fair to her.
Right. Okay.
Because as an original b-boy back in the day, we weren't all great. Some of us were better than others.
Right.
And I used to break for free. So I would practice every day in front of my house on the cardboard in the street. Then we'd go to USA as my crew, whatever, and we'd battle other crews, and we left it there. That was it. We didn't go back and say, oh, you was sucked or you this. You could tell who wins and loses right there. You don't have to go back and, revisit.
We don't need judges for that.
Yeah, we don't need judges for that.
You can see it.
So it's not her fault that they sent her to the Olympics. She might have asked to be in it, and they agreed. So, kudos to her for speaking up for herself and saying, I want to be part of this, and they allowed it. So she gets a participation trophy, if that's what you want to call it, for even having the guts.
No.
So one thing about hip-hop back in the day is judgmental. I was a graffiti writer. So everything that I did was always to be seen by the public, and you could love it or hate it, judge it, whatever. And if you was a DJ, you were spinning and doing your thing on the turntables, people were hearing it and judging you based on that.
You're moving the crowd.
You're moving the crowd or you're not.
Right.
If you was, whatever you do, you rap, you either can rap or you can't rap. So hip-hop was always subjective to the individual to say, I like it or I don't. This girl displayed her best, so I'm quite sure she did her best, and we didn't like it. But she still went out and did something that not many people would do. And when you put yourself in front of everybody on display, and she was on the world stage. Not many people have the guts to get in front of their family and do anything. She put herself on the world stage, so I got to clap to that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Let's give her a clap.
Clap to that, because it's
you
easy,
put it in perspective. I appreciate
that. To judge somebody badly, but when you can find good in something, and what I find good in her is her guts, her willingness. And hip hop was about official b-boy, and I'm gonna call her a b-girl. An official b-girl is somebody who's willing to show you their talent, and you get to judge it, and she has to move on based on your judgment or not or whatever. But she did her thing
confidently.
She did it confidently, and I'm not mad at somebody who has confidence to put themselves on the front page, and she did that. She didn't walk away. She didn't walk away sadly. She walked away happy for her performance. So I mean, she didn't do it to earn a medal. Obviously, she knew she wasn't going to get a medal. So she did her thing. You know what I'm saying?
Like you said, everybody knows her.
Everybody knows her.
Yeah. She might blow up from here on out.
The president,
deals,
every president.
branding.
If I had something to offer her,
yeah,
I guarantee you this. She is going further than any gold medalist in all of the Olympics ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ever. She's the Olympian, because they're all Olympians. Whether they win or lose, you're an Olympian.
Right.
So she goes down in history
an honor
as an Olympian. She was chosen by her country. My country never chose me to do anything. So she beats me in that. I've never performed in front of as many people as she has. She
Right.
beats me in that personally.
Right. A global stage.
You're right, globals. If they was watching us from outer space, they saw her. If they're monitoring our reels and feeds,
Intergalactic audience. I mean,
she's now the new guardian of the galaxy. She's officially B-girl of the galaxy.
right.
Because who's ever watching Earth
Is talking
is
about
talking
her.
about her. Like, Jesus Christ. Nah, but in all seriousness, she's going to.
Right.
She might be on the cover of a cereal box one day. She might have a cartoon. But seriously, what she's going to do is teach people to let the naysayers say what they want to say,
Right.
and do your thing. Do it without prejudice. Do it because you want to. And she didn't hurt nobody. She didn't even hurt herself. What she actually did was she boosted herself confidently, because I want my daughters. I have 3 daughters and 2 granddaughters. I would love for them to have her confidence. There's no more person of confidence on earth today than that young lady for displaying what she was willing to do in front of the galaxy.
Well, we're gonna drop the mic right there, because you've confidently built a tremendous business. Now we grew up as friends, and now we're colleagues and partners, and so we can't wait to get into that story right after these words. This episode here is brought to you by the Connecticut Small Business Boost Fund. It gives small business owners access to flexible funding for capital expenditures and working capital, and connects them with support services. Small businesses and nonprofits can borrow between $5,000 and $500,000, depending on eligibility and need. And you can spend how you spend the money. It could be equipment, payroll, utilities, supplies, marketing, advertising, all that good stuff. And they're very low interest over a 60 to 72 month term. You can get more information, and you can apply at ctsmallbusinessboostfund.org. And we're back. Please help me once again to welcome my dear friend, Gary Wallace, founder of Hall of GraFX.
Thank you.
Welcome, man. That was an awesome breakdown. No pun intended.
Yeah, right. That was an awesome break from the guardian of the galaxy.
Right. So, man, tell us your story.
All right, well, since I act like I know so much about hip-hop, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So I grew up since I was I'm older, of course, so 79 or 80, I was really young, of course. And me and a friend were walking through the neighborhood in Providence, Rhode Island, and we saw a factory building and it had some tag on it. It said Kid Star. So from that point forward, I needed a name because I wanted to be a graffiti writer, like Kid Star. So my friend and I came up with names. I was Rise, R-I-S-E, and he was Zest, like the soap. So we started tagging. We got some spray paint and we started tagging, and that had become my new medicine towards life. So even before that, I used to like to get comic books and draw the characters and sketch characters. So I was always liking to, do artwork. And then when I became a graffiti writer, that kind of elevated me into a plateau of this is what I want to do. I didn't really know much of hip hop in New York City scene, but I did know I liked graffiti. So I started tagging, and then along came the breaking and the popping and the DJing and all that. Like by 80, 81, we were all now hip hoppers. So fast forward, I stayed a graffiti artist, but, it turned into that I was breaking and popping. And I've actually done a lot of shows and videos throughout my life of, being a hip hopper. Right up until, we got out of high school and we started needing to actually fend for ourselves financially. So I, moved around, did a bunch of odd jobs until I ended up moving to New York City in the 90s. And a friend of mine, he was a RISD graduate.
Rhode Island School of
Design, sorry. He got a job at a print shop in Lower Manhattan called Mega Art as a designer. And I was in between jobs at the time, and they were looking for print operators. So the place was called Mega Art. And so I went and applied, and I got the job on the spot. And what was cool was they let me pick my own hours because my girlfriend at the time worked also in Manhattan during the mornings from like 9 to 5, and we had 2 daughters. So to avoid having to work and pay daycare, she worked 9 to 5. I worked 6 to 3 a.m. so we can both watch the kids without, having daycare, which was convenient.
Right.
Living in New York's expensive. So with that job, we were doing all the stuff you see in Times Square, the big giant prints around the world. It was really cool. I landed into a really exclusive place.
The brands you were working on, I remember,
I was working
Ralph
on,
Lauren and
doing
Chanel.
Ralph Lauren, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Burberry, Reebok, American Express. We were exclusive. We had everybody.
And large format for the listeners, like when you're in New York City, you see like it'll literally be a banner like 100 by 200 hanging off the side of a building.
Yeah. The whole building. They were like building wraps.
Yeah.
I've actually worked on some prestigious stuff. Like I introduced The Sopranos to the world. I have a story behind that I could tell you if we got time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's now you can't. You got to tell us now.
So I'll get right back to it. So we had HBO and Showtime accounts. So I did the Bigger and Blacker Chris Rock special. I did his introduction. I used to do all the Mike Tyson fights. So we did good stuff. So back to The Sopranos. You're going to like this. So I did The Sopranos. Well, coming soon, HBO Sopranos. So I'm in Rhode Island. My buddy owned a nightclub.
One of the best logos I
Really
think too,
cool.
with the gun.
So I'm in Rhode Island. My buddy has a nightclub called Skyline, and he was a huge Sopranos fan. So he wanted to have a meet and greet. So he invited some of the Sopranos down, the main characters, and so we're at the meet and greet in the club, right? Before that, I was like, wow, Mike, I actually worked on the Sopranos' very first, coming soon banner. He's like, yeah, really, whatever. So I was like, yeah, for real, because I remember in New York, we did this for HBO. So the guys are talking on the panel, and the guy called Big Pussy. Big Pussy. Oh, all right. Big Pussy was talking, and he goes, yeah, they asked him a question, said, how did you know this was real? And he said, I was at a coffee shop in Times Square, and I looked up, and I saw a huge banner that said coming soon on HBO, The Sopranos. And then my guy, Mike, he's now looking at me, staring me down like
that's the banner you printed.
You just told me that story this morning.
Yeah.
So he kind of, verified I'm not bullshitting, right? So then they started passing the mic around. So of course, Mike gives me the mic. So I say, hey, Big Pussy. I don't think I said that, but it sounds funny. So I said, fuck it. So I say, hey, Big Pussy, I printed that banner. He's looking at me like, this is impossible. You're some black dude in Rhode Island.
Right.
And I'm talking about some shit in New
I
York.
saw in Times Square, yeah.
I was like, listen, I told him where it was on the corner of 8th Ave and 42nd Street. It was not too high, but it was about 50, 60 feet wide, 15, 20 feet high. And it had the whole R, because the branding was the R gun. Was a gun.
Right.
Because I remember printing it. Me and my buddy Sergio were looking at it coming off the machine. Like, wow, that's a cool R as a gun. This is going to be a pretty cool show. Like, nobody in the world.
The logo is iconic.
Yeah, nobody in the world outside of the people creating this had seen it.
Right.
And we was pretty much on confidentiality.
Non-disclosure.
Yeah, non-disclosure agreement, NDAs. So we didn't say nothing, or we couldn't, because we used to do stuff for Apple and the IMAX, so we couldn't talk about any of this shit, right? So he looked at me and he was like, oh, shit, you did do that banner. So then later on in the evening, he walked up to me privately like, dude, you really fucking did that.
You just sounded just like him too, by the
way. So, I'm from Rhode Island. We got that strong Italian accent. Anyway, so he was like, so me and that guy will forever be connected. Because I could walk up to him anywhere in the world and say, remember me? And he'll look at me. I said, remember I made that banner you talked about in Rhode Island? He's like, oh, so me and that guy, actually the actor, we will always be connected. So that's the Soprano story, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
But besides that, like I printed... Like, I remember once, one of my favorite ones was printing Venus Williams on the side of the Queens Bridge for Reebok. That's when she had first got hot. Mm-hmm. Before the Serena came over and took over, it was Venus, if y'all remember that. I did her, it was like 200 feet wide, tall, by like 70, 80 feet wide on the side of the Queens Bridge. And I used to walk, because I used to live in Queens, so I used to go over the 59th Street Queens Bridge every day looking at my work.
Wow.
Another cool story. And this is the last one for that episode, but me and my buddies that all worked together at Mega Art were in Times Square just hanging out one night. And we saw a family They looked like from some other country. It could have been Europe or wherever.
Yeah.
And they were looking up at a band for the Gap, over the Gap store on the corner, same corner of the Sopranos area. And it was huge, like 500 feet wide, maybe 20 feet tall, rapping like a building scaffold rap in New York. And they're looking at it, amazed by it, taking pictures of it. And I remember tapping the guy and said, "Hey, we made that." And I remember the guy looking at me like, "Bullshit."
Yeah.
And then my other guy, he was like, "Dude, we made that." And he kind of looked back, and he kind of blew it off / curiously, maybe they did make it.
Right.
But like it was times like that you realize what you do makes an impact.
It does. It's just larger than life.
It's larger than
the whole thing is large format printing.
It's grand. It's grand.
You guys are like, it's called grand,
It's
but
grand
you guys
format.
are like seaming pieces
Giant,
of material
16
together.
foot wide bands. It was a whole process. And it was some of those times where I realized this is what I need to keep doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, I went to another company that was buying a machine like we had at Mega Art. Because I was getting kind of overworked at Mega Art, to be honest. So they actually sent me to Israel too at Mega Art to go learn the machine better, so they didn't have to call maintenance. I could fix it. So
and why there? Is that where
the
they make
machine?
them?
So printing, the large grand format printing industry mostly comes out of Israel. You have companies like Vuitton, if you ever heard of Vuitton, or Cytex, or Nerd. Those are brands, those are industry companies that are in Israel, right outside of Tel Aviv. So they sent me there for a while. I was there for like 2-3 weeks maybe, just learning the machine, maintenance courses. And I came back, now I'm the in-house tech. So after a while, a company in New York also is buying the same machine. So I figured, all right, let me shoot my shot and see if I can make more money, which they brought me in as production management. So I'm running a whole shop, division of a well-established company called Dugal Visual Solutions. Dugal is one of the premier print industry shops in the world. It doesn't get much higher than that. Dugal is like number one. They're on 23rd Street in Manhattan. Really cool. They did everything in that. You had to be the best to be there. It was like top notch. So I worked there for a while, and then I got an offer because my wife and I, being from Rhode Island, well, my wife now, girlfriend at the time, being from Rhode Island, she started getting a little homesick. We had been gone for 10 years. So I asked around if I could get a job in the Mass area, and the answer was pretty much no. So I was pretty happy. All right, sorry, can't do it. We're staying in New York. So I want to stay in New York. Then a guy called me and said, "Hey, Gary, are you still looking for a job in, the Rhode Island area? Because I'm opening a company right in Canton, Mass to do this, my own thing." I was like, fuck, I don't really want to do it, but I can't. If I don't tell my wife,
right,
it'll always be in the back of my head that I could have told her this.
You withheld information.
I had withheld info, and I couldn't do that. So when I said that, her eyes lit up, and I was like, fuck.
We're doing this now.
Now we're doing this. So I remember my last days in New York, crying in my courtyard, almost in tears, like, fuck, I'm leaving this shit. And when I went to Mr. Dugal to tell him I'm resigning, he said, "Is there anything I could do for you?" I said, "No, my wife and family, they want to move back." "Oh, you can't. You got to do the family first."
Right.
I was like, "Damn, dude, you're not even trying to like, you're not giving me nothing to run home with."
Yeah, like, I got to stay.
Like,
counter offer
give
this.
me a counter. Like, when I left Mega Art, listen, when I was leaving Mega Art, this dude all of a sudden tripled my salary.
Yeah.
Which I was even more mad because you always knew what I was worth, but you was lowballing me and thought just giving me what I'm worth. So I was even more. So I was like, "What?" He was giving me like 25 grand more than what Dugal was offering, but I still left based on the fact that you was fucking me knowing it. I'm leaving anyway. Now I'm even more leaving. So sometimes it ain't about the money. It's really.
That's right.
It's never about. It should never be about the money.
Is.
It's never. You gotta feel appreciation. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So anyway, Mr. Dugal, he greeted me nicely and I left. About 30, 60 days later, I'm in Mass, we're doing the thing. It didn't work out. So now I'm jobless. So now I'm back doing some old skills I had from years ago and gotta eat,
Yeah.
So And I don't know how this really happened, because the world universe works the way it does. I got a phone call from a company down in Richmond, Virginia, that had those same machines they had in New York. They're called the Nerd Blue boards.
Because you can imagine there's only so many. I mean, these
things are $400,000.
Yeah.
They weren't just flying off the shelves.
Right.
So a company offered me it was weird. They said, listen, you fly to Richmond, Virginia, and work from Monday to Thursday. I'll give you $1,000 cash. I'll pay for your airfare, your hotel, and a rental. Tax-free. Bet. Let's do this. Right? I went from jobless to 4 days a week working for $1,000 when everything paid for. So I did that for like 18 months, right? And it was cool. We had
to travel.
No, just back and forth to Richmond. It was all right, but this was right through 9/11. Mm-hmm. So when 9/11 happened, I was actually in Richmond and had to drive back to Rhode Island on that Thursday, and then back to Richmond on that Monday, because I had to work. And then I was flying when they released the airplanes and started letting it. I was flying, but at the same time,
That's a sketchy time period.
I was on the planes. I was on planes by myself a lot.
Yeah.
But I had to keep going. I watched BWI build up their TSA stuff. I watched a lot happening as being
security
one of the few
protocols.
Yeah, one of the few people flying. So I went through all the
So there was some empty planes you were on sometimes?
I've been on planes with pilots, stewardesses, or flight attendants, and maybe one or two other passengers, because they got to keep the planes flying. You can't just let them sit. So yeah, I've been on planes by myself, right? And it was weird, but I made it through. So then I ended up that contract expired after like 18 months.
And this contract there, you were a tech?
So what happened was I was supposed to go temporarily. And here's the whole story. I was supposed to go temporarily and train their people and fix the machines. After about, say, 3 months, the machines were running good. They hired new people for me. I trained them. We're running. One day, the sales rep brought in a client and from a company called Bunton, and it was an ad agency. And they came with the Cracker Barrel. And the Cracker Barrel account and Pilot gas stations you see around the country at the time. And the sales rep had asked a question he didn't know. He came to me. So then I didn't take over the sale, but I helped him complete the sale with the marketing people for Bunton, and they landed a $4 million a year account.
Wow. So
with that happening, they were like, keep Gary here, because, we now just secured all the money we could pay him for as long as we need him. Their end result was they wanted me to move to Richmond. They would ride me around all these beautiful neighborhoods, showing me how cheap it is and how these beautiful big homes were. I'm not moving back, because I used to live in Virginia also, but in the D.C. side, the DMV,
Alexandria. So shout out to you for being my best man.
That's where you got married.
We got married in Arlington.
So you sure did. And shout out to your beautiful wife. I just saw downstairs. Love Nancy to death. So they wanted me to move there, and when they realized I was not moving, things started getting a little foggy. So eventually it was like, Gary, we don't really need you anymore. You got everybody trained. You're never going to come.
Right.
We can't
We're giving up on this.
Yeah, we're giving up on this. So they gave up. And at the time, I was getting sick of flying anyway. So now I'm back in Rhode Island. The money they gave us was great, because moving from New York to Rhode Island, our rent decreased to like almost a quarter.
A fraction.
Fraction. So we paid off. We was like zero bills. So it was like, cool. $1,000 a week cash. And I was paying like $400 a month rent. And then Melissa still had her job from New York, which when 9/11 came, got a little weird also, because she's in the travel. My wife's in the travel industry. So needless to say, I took a desk job working for a company called Service Point. So now I'm just sitting around designing little small ads, people walking in, doing little crap and printing.
So was that like an Alpha Graphics type?
It was the same thing, like an Alpha Graphics, right? So I did that for a couple of years, here's the cool part. My wife, girlfriend at the time, had our third daughter on the day of my interview. I went from Hasbro Hospital, Women and Infants Hospital, which is about half a mile away, or say a mile from where Service Point interview was. I said, oh, my wife just, I went to the interview. My wife literally 2 hours ago just delivered our third daughter. Oh, that's cool. Well, welcome aboard. They hired me, right? So now I'm the digital print manager of their little, because they did a lot of like architectural black and whites and like copy centers and shit. So I'm running now the little print, grand format, little print department. Cool. I did that for like 4 years. And so I was like, I'm sick of this. And then at the time, okay, here's where it starts to build up now.
But I'm paying attention, and it's like you're learning all these different skill sets.
I'm learning all these different
that are gonna take us to where you are now.
All these properties that are adding up to the big picture.
Right.
So when I was in New York, my buddy Condi, he used to drive at Mega Art. He used to drive around in the moped delivering shit all day. Before I left to Dugal, he was like, Gary, can you teach me how to print? Because I'm sick of being a messenger. So I taught him how to run the machines, and he got okay with it. So when I left, he kind of jumped into my spot, right? So we stayed friends. I'm in Rhode Island now. He's still in New York, whatever. Then he got a job for HP, which is in Atlanta on their grand format side. So they also, HP, believe it or not, doesn't just make little stuff.
Yeah.
They also make the big
And
stuff.
just, again, to reiterate, you think a large format, but then the next level is grand format.
Large format printers are like 60 inches wide.
Yeah.
Grand format are like 16 feet wide. So between 5 feet and 16 feet is grand format. Anything between like 24 inch to 60 inch is large format. All right. So anyway, so Condi is working for HP in the grand format as a tech, okay, servicing and fixing machines. He then went and got a job for a company out of Canada called Gandhi Innovations. They were looking for techs, new company that was building machines from scratch. So he called me one day and said, Gary, a guy named Harry is going to call you and offer you a job. All right, whatever. The next day, Harry called me. And then the day after that, he sent me a ticket. The next day, I'm in Canada, right outside of Toronto in Mississauga, interviewing in this 200,000 square foot plant of them making a factory making printers.
Wow.
He's like, I want you to join us and be a tech. Condi says you're his friend and you're good, blah, 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 whatever. So I was like, yeah, all right.
So the guy you helped go from messenger to tech is now open the door for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why you keep the bridges alive. Never burn, just keep your friends close. So I'm in Canada, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. But they're offering me a job to be a technician, but I got to travel all over the world. I don't know if I really want to. I just got out of a traveling job. I don't know if I want to do it. So I go back. This was in December of 1996. No, sorry. December of 2006. So now I'm sitting at home and I'm going back and forth to working in this little shop. I'm like, oh, this is boring. I'm falling asleep at work. One day I got mad because they was talking down to me, management, like if I didn't know what I was doing about a job or something. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm only here doing you a favor. Like, you're not even where I come from. This is way beneath my skill level.
Right.
It's not beneath human skill level. It's beneath my skill level.
Right.
I'm not doing this. I'm out of here. Harry, I'm ready. So in March 2007, so I interviewed in 2006, December. March, so 3 months later, now I'm in Canada for about 3 weeks to a month training. So they put me on the assembly line, and the manager came. He said, Gary, you see that frame that came out of the paint shop? Follow it until we sell it. So I took that frame, and I went through the whole assembly line to help build it. And then they put it in a crate, and they shipped it out. And then I had to go to another machine and another line and do the same thing. So by the time I was done, now I'm in the demo center. And another funny story. My stories just get crazy. I was with a guy last week. I just told you today earlier. Yeah. It was the guy who was training me in the R&D department to get the machines and tune it, color manage it to before it actually sold. Not really just to sell them more, because the machine goes out unprofiled. He was teaching me to profile and tune, get the heads aligned perfectly and all that. I was with the guy last week, and I'm talking about a story in 2006, right? 7.
Almost 20 years ago.
Almost 20 years ago. So anyway, I'm So now I'm waiting to go home, right? So finally they gave me a toolbox, a laptop, a phone, and a credit card. Send me back to Rhode Island. The next few days later, my first assignment, they sent me to Portland, Oregon for like a week with a $2,500 credit card. I'm like, this isn't going to last because the flight was like $1,800. So needless to say, they started pimping me around the world.
Yeah, you're like Jason Bourne for printing.
Yeah, I was getting pimped out. Right? So by the time I was done,
secret missions.
Yeah,
let's call
secret missions. Yeah. By the time I was done, a few years later,
you show up.
I was
with your toolkit.
What's funny is I dressed like this, going to work. Right? So I would walk into a place, and they would look at me like, "You're here to fix the machine." Next thing you know, I'm the only one they want in the building, type of thing. Because I was good. Like I have a past of taking things apart and putting them together.
Right.
In the dark.
You have a set of highly specialized skills.
I have a set of in the dark with a flashlight and all the wrong tools looking over your shoulder. So now you put me in a nice room.
Do the math on that.
Yeah, do the math.
If you know, you know.
If you know. Now you got me in a room with lights, AC, every tool I could possibly need.
Yeah.
And I don't have to watch out. This is easy. This is light work, right? So I'm all over the world. I'm fixing and installing this and that, whatever. And it was cool. But after a while, again, it starts getting like, all right, I done seen this place 100 times. It ain't cool no more. Now it's just work. Then it got ugly because we got bought up by a corporate company called AGFA, A-G-F-A.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them, the film brand.
They've been around since
Kodak
before
days.
I was born, Kodak. So anyway, now I work for them. So it went from global to regional. So now they gave me a brand new car. Go to the dealership, pick up the Toyota Camry, whatever color, Taylor.
Shout out to Kev. That's his favorite car.
Okay. I've had a couple. I had like 2 of them shit. Brand new.
I got one right now.
But literally, it was like, I would get an email. I would have to pick all the the specs you can have. Then go to the dealer. Oh, that's fine. Take it and leave. No miles. They gave me a gas card. My wife has on the insurance. It was beautiful. But that's corporate really pimping you. It's like putting me on a corner and says, I'm going to buy all your outfits.
Right.
All you got to do is sell your body. But I'm going to make sure I'm going to pay for all your hair and nails done. Right?
And if you're dumb, you think that's
if you're dumb, that's a great deal. But then at the end of the day, when they wake you up at 7 in the morning and say, we need you in Philadelphia.
We own you.
Yeah, they're like, drive to Philadelphia from Rhode Island today, now. I'm like, what? I used to jump on a plane to Philadelphia with Gandhi because Gandhi didn't care what I did. Like I told you I had a $2,500 credit card. A couple years later, I was spending like $10,000 a month running around the world, right? And then, I need more money.
That took you to like Australia,
mentioned Europe, Eastern Europe, the UK, fucking back and forth. I used to fly back and forth to Cali from Monday to Thursday, and then from Monday to Thursday, and then from Monday to, like if I lived there. Oh, hey, guy, what are you doing this week? Nothing. Hey, come on up to Canada for a week and hang out. All right, whatever. It was like I had the key to the world. Credit is an American Express business card. I used to have a rental car wherever I was and one at home. Because when I was at home, sometimes they would say, just go to New York to the ink plant. We used to make our own ink also on Long Island. So I didn't even buy a car because I got rid of my car. I had a leased Altima. So I don't need a car. I just go get a rental if I need it. So for years, I just kind of kept the rental at my house. And what was funny was I was so good at Hertz. I actually used my Hertz President's Circle last week in California, where I'm with my wife because she loves what I get out of life, but hates the way I go get it. She's like, perks are unlimited, but I get them the way nobody else does. So we get to the airport. We're like, we need a rental. We're in LA last week. We need a rental.
You're like in the Platinum Diamond Club or whatever.
I'm going to Hertz. But don't you got to go? Nah, fuck off.
I don't have to wait in line.
I ain't waiting in line. Boom, here's my name. All right, you have your card? Nope, but you just put it up. Oh, yeah, all right, what card do you want?
You probably got like 10 billion points in there.
Like, she's sitting there like, because she knows, and it's not like you don't say nothing. She just knows I'm going to stay quiet, let Gary do his thing. Next thing you know, we're out in the lot. Pick whatever car you want. Just now she got like 40 different vehicles she's looking at. Like, I want that one. All right, we out. Boom. Right? Low rate, like $100 for the whole day and shit. And this is in LA, right? $100 with insurance, so everything. But so back it on up, I did that for years. Aqua came in, got me regional, gave me the Camry, whatever. I hated it. So eventually, I watched all of my friends from Gandy start getting let go. So I knew I was coming up next. One day, now this is the turn. This is where everything turns to today. I had to go to New Jersey, to a place I've never heard of. I'm like, what the fuck is this place? I've been everywhere. And I get to the place, and it's not a print shop. It's more of, they made like custom molding for like doors and window frames or something. But I see the machine in the middle of the floor there, not plugged in, just sitting there. So then the owner that I knew from New York, Jim, in Queens, he came in and it's like, hey, guy, I need you to fix this machine so I could sell it. So I was like, really? Maybe I want it. And I kind of said that out loud, and he's like, yeah, a guy like you could have this and that, right? So what's funny is, this is true, in the back of my mind, as I'm thinking about this, Eminem's song, Lose Yourself, was playing in my head. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Opportunity comes once in a lifetime. And that song is in my head for some friggin' reason. Needless to say, years before that at Dugal, I used to do all of Eminem's personal stuff for his office in Manhattan through my man Mark, which is his road manager. So I was tied in with Eminem from back in before he was even hot. I knew who he was. But anyway, so I called up my wife. She said, go for it, of course. She's always got my back and shit. And then so I called a friend of mine, my buddy from England. He lives in Texas. I was like, Steve, I'm thinking of buying a machine, but it's not working. And he goes, Mike, we could fix anything. I was like, all right, bye, click. All right, Jim, I want it. Made him an offer. He said, before you make me an offer, let me show you the rest. Took me to the back room where all of his rest of his print shop stuff was. So long story short, I bought it all, but I didn't even have a place to put it. So I went back to Rhode Island, ran around the town, found a loose spot just to store it. So they brought it to me. I paid for it delivery. All of it came in, got the stuff, put it away, and I was still working, so I was traveling. I remember I came back from New Orleans, came into my shop, and the electrician from the company had hooked it up for me. It was only $220 at the time. It was a 10-foot Gandy machine, 10-foot wide, which is 3 meters, prints anything on a 10-foot roll and longer. So I just made up some flyers, and I hit the street. I got a name. I made up a name. I had you make the logo. I made some flyers, and I ran up and down the streets and started offering it to different stores, other print shops to say, hey, I can make signs and big banners, whatever you need. And it slowly started trickling in. Meanwhile, I'm still flying for AGFA. I was driving. And then I got a Facebook account, and I just started hustling. And, I mean, that's pretty much what it was. Like, I just started hustling as much as I could. And then about a year later, I moved into a bigger place, which was like 3,000 square foot facility. I just kept acquiring equipment and getting bigger and getting more popular. And what I did as far as a startup business, what made it work for me, I didn't go after anything I couldn't handle. Instead of trying to say, I want the Walmart account and the Home Depot account and this Stop and Shop and this and Lowe's, I said, I want to go after the regular people that I know that just need small prints, small signs, small banners. Because I remember I come from the fashion industry with the Gap, Old Navy, Banana Republic, and Fendi and Gucci, but that was way too big for me to handle. Because if you fail that, you failed. But if you fail your buddy's bar mitzvah birthday banner, that's not a big fail. You can get better from that. Yeah. So what I did was I found a little niche in the inner city, because the people in the inner city don't really always know where to get something. They don't have access or resources. And then the other print companies, they don't really want that traffic, and they're kind of scared to go into the inner city and go to Pedro's body shop. They're scared of Pedro. For whatever reason.
He's a bad hombre.
Yeah. Pedro or Marcus or whoever, they just want a nice sign.
Right.
They're not harmful people.
Exactly.
But the people that usually own big print shops, they don't realize
it's cultural, too.
It's a cultural thing. Yeah. I went right. That was my target.
That's your people.
Those are my people, my brothers and sisters. So I targeted them, and they came back in full fold.
Yeah.
to the point where I don't even, to this day, 12 years later, I don't want Home Depot and Lowe's, and because that is just a race to the bottom. Because if I'm racing you and this company and that company to get that business, we're not racing for profit. We're just racing to have something to do. And really, you race to the bottom. Like, there's a famous line in the movie Armageddon that I'll never forget, where the crazy guy in the movie, he says, "We are on a machine with millions of moving parts, all built by the lowest bidder."
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They're on their way to the moon, and this thing's got like 50,000 moving parts built by the lowest bidder.
The cheapest way to build
it. And that line sticks to me because that's how business works.
No.
People don't necessarily want the best quality. They want the best price. Working in the inner city with hundreds and thousands of individual customers, I could give both. Because I don't sell one thing for 10, 20, 30 grand. I sell hundreds of things for $50 to $100. That way I could give my good quality, a good service. I can give a smile.
And it's accessible.
And it's easy access. And people want to feel like they spent their money good.
Right.
And because people are going to talk about you regardless. Whether they had a good time with your restaurant or a bad time, they are going to talk. So if you give them service with a smile and a good price, and the food was decent, they're going to make the food even taste better because they left the place not feeling like they got taken for a ride. So at Hall of GraFX, we give everybody the same equal service. I don't care if you walk in and look like you have more money than the last person. Everybody gets treated equal. If I have a price for bandits of $100, it's also $100 to the rich person. We don't go up and down on prices because what happens then, you get caught forgetting how much you charge this person versus that one. So if you keep it all even and equal, everybody feels happy. And they're going to sell it for you. You don't have to. I do commercials. I do radio spots. But that goes back, a lot of the stuff that I do goes back to me tagging as a graffiti writer. I like to see myself up. And doing a commercial, it's like I do commercials, and I have commercials. I don't do them to make money. I do them, it's like a tag for me. Look at me on TV with my commercial. Dope. That's like me riding down Broad Street on the city bus seeing a Burnham I did last night. It's just the exact same feeling. If I don't make no money off the commercial, I did a friggin' commercial that I saw. That's like a tag for me. But they do work. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say they don't work. It's great for
brand awareness.
It's great for brand awareness, and it's also great for building confidence in yourself to say, listen, I got to do more. I got to keep pushing the bar higher.
I love how you tied in the Australian breakdancer back in with the confidence and the tagging with the commercial.
I mean, everything, hip-hop is an essence.
It's come full circle.
It's an essence. It's not just a thing.
Yeah,
it's a spiritual essence. Like when you live in a circle of essence, everything flows. Everything, the way you walk, talk, move. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm talking to the chief CEO of, say, IBM or Xerox or wherever, I have to have a certain approach to the way. I can't sit there shifting my weight and moving around and fidgeting. I got to talk to this guy in the suit because he's looking at me not in the suit. But he has to walk away knowing this guy got what it takes to make my company better.
Right.
So I'm going to give him my business. If I'm talking to some, regular person in the street that, sells ties on the corner, I may have a different approach. But you got to be approachable. Everybody has to feel comfortable around you no matter what you look like. Because I work in the inner city. I get it all. I get people that say they work at a big company downtown, but they're not at my shop to get jobs for that company downtown. They're getting something for their little birthday party this weekend. But what helps me, if that person likes me and that he or she is at their business and the boss comes, hey, we need a banner for a birthday party. Everybody likes to say, I got a guy.
Yeah.
Everybody, I got somebody, because there's 20 people in the room and you feel good to say, I got a guy who does oil changes. I got a guy who can fix your flat. Everybody wants to say they got a guy. So, I got a guy. Gary. And then somebody else might be like, oh, yeah, that's my man. Go, yo. Next thing you know, I'm now doing a job for this company. And they're going to keep coming back because they like the price.
Right.
They like the turnaround because we do quick service. And I don't charge rush prices. If I can do it, I do it. If I can't do it, I can't do it. But to charge you a rush charge, sometimes it goes both ways. But I feel like this. I have all this equipment. If I can do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to charge you. I'm not going to punish you for using my service. You know? Oh, you're going to pay extra. Why should you pay extra if I'm going to do it anyway? And I'm not going to have to stay late to do it or go through, hoops and ladders to do it. Something happened in your life to make it that you need this right away. I don't want to add burden to that. I want to be the rescue because the next time you need something, it's not going to necessarily be a rescue.
You be the hero.
I'm the hero. Oh, go see my man. He got me. He had me last time in an emergency. Now I got 2 weeks. Boom. Right. And that's good business, you know? Like.
And you've, how many years you celebrated now?
Well, we're in the 12th year right now.
Nice. Congratulations.
I wish you would have been, I had a 10-year anniversary. That was ridiculous. I mean, we call it the 10, right? It was at the same club that I did this talk about the Sopranos.
Yeah.
Man, we packed that building with all clients and friends and family, and we had I hired a DJ. Hear this, so I hired 50 Cent's DJ, right? I mean, my motto is think big. So you think big. You know what I'm saying? Give more than you take. That's another brand of mine. Give more than you take. So I get what I get out of life, right? And I like to give. I'm a giver. I don't need as much as I like to give. So there's a DJ. His name is DJ Chubby Chub. Shout out DJ Chubby Chub, right? I mean, people up north know who he is. He's also 50 Cent's traveling DJ. So during the weeks coming up to my show, I'm on Instagram seeing this dude in like Ireland and France and Spain. I'm like, dude, I got a party coming up. You gonna be there? Dude, I got you. Don't worry about it. So I'm watching him globetrot while I'm like, I just hired a DJ, got him all over the flyer, and this in Italy right now. He got back like hours. He came in like hours after he landed, off the G Unit tour. And he spun and rocked it. He rocked the house. I hired a 360 camera.
Nice.
I had a dude walking around filming it with the body cam stuff on. Like, I'm not gonna, and I don't charge. Everybody come on in. I have food.
You're very generous. And what's the? You've also won some awards for Rhode Island as well.
Well, nobody wins anything.
Well,
okay, nobody wins nothing. You get awards, right, based on something. I've learned that Oscars and Grammys and Emmys and all that, nobody wins those things. I think Jay-Z said it lately on his last thing when he won something. Some people get jerked. Some people don't deserve what they get, and some people do deserve it and don't get it, whatever. I used to work with some people, right, really proud, prestigious people in Rhode Island, and they got a lot of pull and juice. They used to do a show every year called Shop and RI, Rhode Island's finest. Right. RI's finest.
Right.
The best of the best in every category. They're my man. They're my people. Gary, you are the best printer. Why? Because we rock with you. So you're getting an award for the best printer based on our friendship, and that's what it is. So for like 5 years in a row.
By the way, you got to print all our banners for the event.
By the way, you got to print all of our banners for the event. But you're going to get this big old award in front of 1,000.
As payment.
In front of 1,000
And this could be great
people.
exposure for you.
In front of 1,000 of Rhode Island's finest.
Right.
So they're going to be, they rank.
It's compelling.
It's great because they rent out the swanky, ballroom.
You're rubbing elbows with all these businesses.
And mayors and doctors and jewelers and, everybody in the industry. And they're like, yo, who are you? You got a card? Give me your card, whatever. Right. So, I mean,
great networking.
It all works. Just like, like the Oscars. I got a private jet franchise, and I also have an artist. You give my artist this award, I give you 2,000 private jet hours. That's the barter
Right,
system. That's the way the world works.
That's
man.
the way it works. So see, amazing story. Maybe you can share the type of services you offer, because I know you got a Bumblebee. Kind of go through the layout of your shop, and then what kind of clients you're looking for.
All right, so we have a one-stop shop. We have machines that make stickers, small banners. We could do blueprints and architectural draft papers. We could do welcome cards, welcome signs, thank you cards, posters. We have small format. We have copy center format. We have large format where we do print cuts like vehicle graphics, vehicle wraps, spot wraps. We have grand format to make step and repeat backdrops. We can make full building wraps. We can make we have a flatbed printer, which we do political signage. We do like yard signs. My kid graduated from XYZ school, proud of signs. Vote for me signs. We do T-shirts, direct to print. DTF, direct to film, transfer, T-shirt press. We do, we do a lot. We do full design, logo making, creation, QR code. We work with, a lot of companies that we do like vehicle graphics and wraps to do like my painting companies and electric companies and some of our clients. We have huge clients where we do like bank, like window films for banks and doctors' offices and a lot of salons and medical companies and barbershops. We pretty much do it all.
You've done some signage too, light boxes.
And we do a lot of light boxes. We use that on our flatbeds. We print on polycarbonates, acrylics, aluminums, vinyls, banner materials. We use UV inks for longevity and the outdoor elements. We also have solvent machines. I don't want to keep saying but there's just so much of it that we do a lot.
And then what's the best way for folks to reach you if they want to learn more or get a hold of you?
To reach us, you can go on our Instagram, which is Hall of GraFX. Graphics is spelled unique, so it's HALLOFGRAFX. So graphics is GRAFX. So if you just look that up, you can find us on our website, which Peralta Design created for us, which is marvelous. You can go on Facebook and look us up, Instagram, look us up, or you can just stop in. We're in Providence, Rhode Island at 350 Kinsley Avenue, Unit 43 in Providence, or you can give us a phone call. We're at 401-444-0844.
Nice. Great job, man. It was great catching up with you because it's been a while, so I get to get caught up on everything. But you built an amazing business, and we love sending business your way and help. And you've helped out plenty of our clients, and so we want to continue that.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm here. I ain't have nowhere else to be.
All right. Not flying around the world anymore these days.
More. I mean, that was
vacation.
That was vacation, which I can't get
a lot more enjoyable. All right, Gary. Well, thank you for being here, man. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, brother.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of Mission Control. Until next time, this is your host, Ramon Peralta with Peralta Design, and we launch brands.